When you assessed the film, when you saw some of the issues, I guess, stopping the run and fitting the run, what was the biggest things that stuck out to you why Fremont was able to run?
A couple things. You know, it was one of those games where we kind of knew we were going to give up a little bit on the run, you know, just because of, you know, the dynamics of what number 2 and number 11 and 85 and 84. So we knew we were gonna give up a tad bit, but you know, I pointed out to the guys there was about 60 yards. You know, would they rush for 150? You know, we kind of said, hey, if we could have gotten out of there with, you know, between 95 and 105 yards against that offense with what we had to do with the quarterback and the wideout, we would have been pretty satisfied. But there was about 60 yards of rushing that, you know, that was on us, you know, and the guy, everyone agreed, you know, but we knew we were going to have to give up a little bit in the run just to, you know, do the job that we had to do in the passing game. But it was still, like I said, about 60 yards too much.
I know it takes a whole unit with front seven and even secondary as well, stopping the run, but it seemed like Keenan had some missed tackles that were kind of uncharacteristic of him. When you watched him in that game, what kind of stood out that typically he wouldn't usually struggle with?
You know, I thought Keenan played fairly well, you know. Yeah, and I mean, a handful of guys had missed tackles. But, you know, I told you last week that running back he's a heck of a player now. He really is. Like I said, I think we gave him specifically, I think we gave him about 30 or 40 yards too much. But, you know, like I said, I think the type of game that it was going to be going into it, the game plan that we had for their passing game, we knew we were going to give up a little, but I still think we gave up a little bit too much.
Their last drive, the Falcons' last drive, when they went ahead with 24 seconds left, I think looking back at it, maybe did you play it a little too soft? You know, the prevent defense, were you a little bit too much of that? Do you think?
But you know, our mentality was they needed a touchdown. You know, so you know, you have a different mentality when a 2 minute starts on what they need. Do they need a field goal? Do they need a touchdown? You know, and I'm a firm believer in our rush and coverage. You know, and you know, we wanted a philosophy that we were going to make them earn every blade of grass that they got. We missed a couple tackles in that drive. You know, we were close on a big sack fumble on a big game on a big gain. But still, you know, I still felt pretty good with what we were doing where, you know, shoot, we got them to, you know, 4th and 2 with 30 seconds left. I mean, we got to find a way to win a down, you know, whether it's a sack fumble, whether it's a tip pass, we're going to make them earn everything they get. And, you know, we didn't make the play, they made the play.
Was that first half about as ideal as you could have imagined as far as, you know, rushing Ryan, covering passes, covering their routes, their tough receivers, maybe not stopping the run necessarily, but just everything else? Yeah,
you know, really, ideally, I thought it was, you know, they scored. It was 6-7 when they scored the touchdown where we caused the fumble. You know, so I think even you said ideal. You know, with 40 seconds left in the game, you know, it was what was it, 13-12 or yeah, you know, so. No, I mean, our guys played hard. They played their butts off, you know. But, again, the ideal game is when we walk off the field and we've won the game, you know. And, you know, that message will never change. You know, our job on defense is to hold them to one less point than we score. So it doesn't matter how you play in the first half. We played well in the first half, but we got to put a full game together and play 4 quarters.
Despite how good the back was last week, what's it say about your guys? Jason's in there, Terrence. They're taking it personal that he rushed for 100 yards. I mean, what's that say about your group that's as upset and fired up that they are about that?
They're a prideful group, you know, and you know, like I said, and that's the thing that's fun when you, at least as a coach, when we do bring them in on Tuesday and we watch the film with them, and they're like, no, you know, Coach, you don't need to make excuses for that. That's you know, there's no way he should have had 100 yards, you know. And when they're preaching that and when they're singing that, you know, that's a good thing, you know. But I thought the guys played their butts off. They really did. You know, had some new guys in and some new roles, and They played hard, and like I said, I thought the plan was pretty good. You know, you got to have a plan when you play against that type of offense, that type of quarterback, that type of wideout. You know, like I said, we gave them a little bit too much in the run game, and that was on us.
You had 2 weeks ago, you had one turnover, and I asked you about them. You said, well, they tend to come in bunches.
Yeah.
Well, 2 games, you get 5 of them. Does that kind of, you know, get the guys going, you know, really starting to look for those takeaways?
Yeah, you know, it does. It kind of, you know, you just got to stay the course and just keep preaching it. You know, it can't be, okay, this week we're going to preach turnovers. You know, that's something that we preach on a daily basis, you know, since OTA number 1 when we were out on the grass the first time, you know. But it is exciting when they see it come to fruition, and they're like, oh my God, you know, we keep preaching it. We keep hawking the ball when the ball's in the air. We keep punching the ball, hammering the ball, raking the ball with the ball carriers. Man, we can go get 3 turnovers. And really, you know, we left a couple opportunities out there. You know, the one big one that Chris Baker caused down on the goal line that we didn't get, you know. So, but that message and our belief as far as, you know, takeaways change the game. You know, they change the course of a game. And we're going to keep preaching it, and, you know, they'll keep coming.
Coach, Chris Ivory this week, obviously one of the harder runners in the league. You know, what have you seen on film from him as a runner? And Pot Roast in there was saying, you know, DY's been getting a couple more reps at running back in practice to try and prepare for the bigger back. Yeah. Besides that, what are some other things you're doing to prepare for him?
Well, you know, we wanted to get at least when we're making contact in practice, we wanted you know, the force of a bigger body there. So that's why, you know, and DY did give us a great look at that, because 33 is a very physical, hard runner. He's had that ever since, you know, he was in New Orleans. You know, I think he's, if not the leader, he's one of the tops in the league as far as yards after first contact. You know. He's always been that style of back. He is a big, physical, downhill runner. So, you know, we always talk about, I think, most of the time when you play against a big back, we talk about a tackling plan. As a tackler, you got to have a tackling plan. You can't just go in this guy and tackle him like a normal running back. So you got to have a plan against a big, physical back, which 33 is definitely that. He runs hard.
5 games. What else do you want to see as far as this defense establishing the identity and the foundation that you want to have on defense? What else do you feel like still needs to be done, you know, this early in the season as it is?
Yeah, you know, there's 3 things that we've really preached since, you know, the very first meeting that we had back in May, and that's, you know, to compete, to be physical, and to finish. You know, and I don't think we're never going to be satisfied. You know. And we're definitely not satisfied yet. So as long as we show up every day and we compete and we play physical and we finish, you know, I think those are the things that we're always going to be striving for, and, you know, make the fans of the Redskins proud. You know, if we do those 3 things on a consistent basis, week in and week out, you know, we'll be, and that's where we're heading. You know, I don't think by any means we've perfected it yet, but that's the message, and the message will not change.
Coach, I hope I can verbalize this well, but just now Jason Hatcher took a lot of the blame for the run game being so prolific last week. And yesterday and today, a lot of the defensive guys especially have talked about getting back to the fundamentals and how important that is. In the heat of a game, and especially if it's not going well, as a coach or the veterans, can they reestablish that if you see that they're getting off of it? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, you know, and I think the thing that was crazy there, we didn't give up a run over 20 yards, but we did give up. You know, we gave up a 19-yarder, we gave up an 18-yarder, I think a 14-yarder, and the thing about it, you guys know the difference between a 7-man front and an 8-man front. You know, well, against a passing offense, you got to play a little bit more 7-man front just so you're better versus the pass. Well, the funny thing is the 3 biggest runs we gave up were in 8-man fronts, you know. So that's when they see that, you know, and it's a little thing, you know. It's a guy maybe being poor with his footwork, or maybe being poor with his hands, or getting reached on a reach block when he can't get reached, you know. So I think that's, but the great thing for a coach is when they come in and they say, God dang it, that's, you know, we got to do better. You know, we don't. It's not me saying, "Come on, guys, we got to do better," and that just goes to show everything that I've talked about with a guy like Jason Hatcher, with a guy like Terrence Knighton, with a guy like Deshaun Golston, where they say, you know, we got to do a better job, and that's exciting. And they came back and had an unbelievable week of practice. You know, Wednesday was great, today was great. You know, we'll go back out there and get one more day of work tomorrow to work on those details and the fundamentals and the techniques. You know, that's what you practice for. Okay. See you guys.